Good evening and welcome. I'm Greg Gumbel here with my partner Clark Kellogg, bringing you the 2K Sports NCAA Selection Show. We're all set to show you the seedings and pairings, so get out your bracket sheet, get those pencils ready. Here are the basics. Of the 65 available tournament bids, 31 are automatically given to conference champions. The tournament committee hands out the remaining 34 bids on an at-large basis. An opening round game will take place on Tuesday night to narrow the field to 64 teams. But before we unveil the brackets for this season, here's a look at the final top 25 media poll of the season. The media rankings are what everyone's been following for the last 4 months, but in just a minute, the selection committee's opinion is going to be the only one that matters. We've seen them break away from the national rankings in the past, and it won't be long before we find out if the committee's done it again. It's time to talk about the topic that has a lot of players and coaches holding their breath right now, the NCAA tournament bubble. These are the 10 teams that aren't worried as much about where they'll be playing as if they'll be playing. Clark, who jumps out at you there?
New Mexico should be considered among the best of the major conference teams not holding an automatic bid. But there are plenty of non-power conference teams knocking on the door that may prevent them from getting an invitation.
You got that right, and who else might be in the same position? I'm sure it's been a long week for those teams, but the wait's almost over. The NCAA Selection Committee has finished its meeting, and we're ready to unveil the top 4 seeds in this year's tournament. The Duke Blue Devils are the top overall seed, and they will play in the East Regional. They begin the tournament as the dominant team in college basketball. They've been ranked number 1 in the media poll for the past 6 weeks. Let's see if they can live up to everyone's expectations. On to the second number 1 seed, who will play in the South Regional. The Baylor Bears are seeking their first ever NCAA championship. The Marquette Golden Eagles are our third number 1 seed, and they'll play in the Midwest Regional. They're back in the tournament again, and no doubt they'll be feeding off the experience of last year's appearance as they try to get to the Final Four this year. And finally, our fourth number 1 seed will play in the West Regional. The Florida Gators are in the tournament field as a number 1 seed for the first time in the history of their program. Now, here's how the brackets shape up based on where the number 1 seeds have been assigned. In one national semifinal game, the winner of the East Regional will play the winner of the South Regional. In the other semifinal game, the winner of the Midwest Regional will play the winner of the West Regional. Those games will be played on Saturday, April 4th. Then it'll be on to the national championship game on Monday night, April 6th. Any surprises in there for you, Clark?
Well, when you see the selection committee deviate from the top 4 teams in the media poll, it's a little surprising. They've opened themselves up to some criticism with these picks.
So, with the number 1 seeds out of the way, it's finally time to tackle the rest of the brackets. First up, we take a look at the East Regional. The Duke Blue Devils are the top seed, finishing at 25-6. They won both the regular season and conference tournament titles in the ACC. They will take on the winner of the opening round play-in game between St. Francis, Pennsylvania, with 17 wins, and Army from the Patriot League. And now, the number 8 seed, the Clemson Tigers, come into the tournament after finishing 7th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the South Florida Bulls, who were semifinalists in their conference tournament, finishing at 21-13. UCLA comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 23-9. And they will take on the 12th seed from the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the Texas Southern Tigers, with 24 wins. Texas enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big 12. This will be their 26th appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed. The Harvard Crimson finished the season with 19 wins.
The Texas Longhorns are a team I love watching play. They've been one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and I don't see any reason for them to slow down during the tournament. If they can dictate the tempo of a game and force the other team to run with them, they are very hard to deal with. I wouldn't put it past these guys to make a run this year.
The Minnesota Golden Gophers are in as the number 6 seed. They'll be taking on the number 11 seed, the Temple Owls, with 23 wins. Kansas comes in as the number 3 seed, finishing at 21-8. Houston comes in to face them at number 14 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of Conference USA. Our number 7 seed is from the Big East. The West Virginia Mountaineers were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the St. Louis Billikens, who were 3rd in their conference, finishing at 22-10. Next up is the number 2 seed. The Maryland Terrapins have established themselves as one of the best teams from the ACC. They'll be going up against the number 15 seed, the away team, with 18 wins. This will be their second appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. I think this could wind up being the bracket that brings us this year's Cinderella story. A few of the higher seeds here have had terrific seasons, and I'll be surprised if at least one of them doesn't put together a long run in this tournament. Next up, we'll take a look at the South Regional. The Baylor Bears are the top seed, finishing at 26-5. They were winners of the regular season championship in the Big 12. They'll take on the Charleston Southern Buccaneers, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their second appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. Arizona State comes in as the number 8 seed, finishing at 19-12. Illinois comes in to face them at number 9 with 22 wins in the tournament championship of the Big 10. Georgia Tech enters the field as the number 5 seed from the ACC. This will be their 17th appearance all-time in the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 12 seed, the Oral Roberts Golden Eagle. Finished the season with 21 wins.
The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are going to provide serious matchup problems to any team that doesn't have depth and defensive ability at both guard spots. They have outstanding backcourt play at both ends of the court. It's the main reason they've made it this far, and they're going to have to maintain that form if they want to do some damage in this tournament.
South Carolina comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 26-6. And they'll take on the 13th seed from the Colonial Athletic Association, the away team, with 19 wins. And now the number 6 seed, the Oregon Ducks, come into the tournament on the strength of a third-place finish in their conference regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Fresno State Bulldogs, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 23-7. The Connecticut Huskies are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Iona Gales, with 19 wins. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Indiana Hoosiers have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Big 10. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Wyoming Cowboys, with 23 wins. This is their 15th appearance in the NCAA tournament in the history of their school. Our number 2 seed is from the SEC. The Tennessee Volunteers were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They're going to play the number 15 seed, the Butler Bulldogs, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 15-17. What a tremendous regional final we'd have in this bracket if the number 1 and 2 seeds here make it through the first 3 rounds unscathed. That could be one of the games of the tournament. On to our third bracket of the day. Let's take a look at the Midwest Regional. The Marquette Golden Eagles are the top seed, finishing at 25-9. They were conference tournament champions in the Big East. They'll take on the Morgan State Bears, the number 16 ranked team. This will be their second appearance all time in the NCAA tournament. Our number 8 seed is from the Big 12. The Iowa State Cyclones were rewarded for their outstanding play this season with an at-large bid and a ticket to the big dance. They're going to play the number 9 seed, the away team, who were third in their conference, finishing at 19-10. The Washington State Cougars are in as the number 5 seed. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed, the Drake Bulldogs, with 18 wins. Pittsburgh enters the field as the number 4 seed from the Big East. This is their 21st appearance in the NCAA tournament in team history. They'll be getting ready to face the number 13 seed, the Stony Brook Seawolves. Finished the season with 19 wins.
The Pittsburgh Panthers have more to prove than any other team in this tournament. They haven't had a lot of experience in the tournament recently, so it's difficult to say exactly how they'll handle it. They've shown they're capable of playing with the best teams in the nation during the regular season. Now they need to show they belong with those teams come tournament time.
Villanova comes in as the number 6 seed, finishing at 21-10. And they take on the 11th seed from the Pac-10, the Oregon State Beavers, with 21 wins. And now the number 3 seed, the Florida State Seminoles, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were semifinalists in their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 14 seed, the Indians of Louisiana Monroe, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 21-15. Next up is the number 7 seed. The Purdue Boilermakers have established themselves as one of the best teams from the Big 10. They'll be going up against the number 10 seed, the Utah Utes, with 21 wins. They return once more to the very familiar surroundings of the NCAA tournament. Xavier comes in as the number 2 seed, finishing at 27-5. North Florida comes in to face them at number 15 with 17 wins in the tournament championship of the Atlantic Sun Conference. It's the first question every Selection Sunday: which is the toughest bracket? Well, this bracket looks to me like it wins that prize this year. Not only are the top seeds strong, the lower seeds can be dangerous as well. And finally, let's have a look at the West Regional. The Florida Gators are the top seed, finishing at 25-6. They were conference tournament champions in the SEC. They'll take on the UC Davis Aggies, the number 16 ranked team. This marks their first appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. Next up is the number 8 seed. The Kentucky Wildcats have established themselves as one of the best teams from the SEC. They'll be going up against the number 9 seed, the Maryland-Baltimore County Retrievers, with 23 wins. This marks their first appearance in the NCAA tournament in school history. Oklahoma comes in as the number 5 seed, finishing at 23-10. And they will take on the 12th seed from the West Coast Conference, the St. Mary's Gales, with 21 wins. Oklahoma State comes in as the number 4 seed, finishing at 19-8. Western Michigan comes in to face them at number 13 with 18 wins in the tournament championship of the MAC. Our number 6 seed is from Conference USA. The Memphis Tigers had a tremendous year that included a regular season championship. They are going to play the number 11 seed, the Cougars of the College of Charleston, who came in first in their conference tournament, finishing at 24-7. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame are in as the number 3 seed. They'll be taking on the number 14 seed, the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, with 18 wins. And now the number 7 seed, the Michigan State Spartans, come into the tournament 5th in their conference during the regular season and were losers in their first game at their conference tournament. They are going to play the number 10 seed, the Penn State Nittany Lions, who were 3rd in their conference, finishing at 19-11. Louisville enters the field as the number 2 seed from the Big East. It's yet another appearance in the brackets for a school that's no stranger to the NCAA tournament. They'll be getting ready to face the number 15 seed, the Texas Arlington Mavericks, finished the season with 16 wins.
The Louisville Cardinals are a team that is just so powerful and strong up front. I would put their front court up against just about any other teams in the nation right now. It's always good to have strong guard play, but if you ask most coaches, I guarantee you they take the good big man over the good little man most times. Their interior play should serve them very well in this competition.
There are going to be some incredible matchups in the later rounds of this bracket. If the top seeds can avoid the early upsets, we can look forward to some real heavyweight battles. Clark, how do you view this year's top 16?
Kansas got a raw deal in my view. If you take a look at what they accomplished, it is hard to believe they
Slipped to a 3 seed. Notre Dame
is a team that I just don't see going very far in this tournament. They have a number of holes that they can't cover up and that other teams will exploit.
Now, let's bring the conference picture into focus. The Big East gets 8 teams. The Big 12 with 6 out of the ACC. The Big 10 gets 6 teams.
What a down year for the non-power conferences. We're used to seeing at least one of those conferences compete on the level of the power conferences, but not this year.
And let's not forget the teams out of the America East Conference. For a small conference, they competed at a very high level this year. Those teams could be the place to look if you're trying to find a Cinderella story in the tournament.
I'm surprised there were so few bids for the teams in Conference USA. It was an especially disappointing year for that conference. Usually you can count on a few of the nation's elite teams coming out of there, but this was a season where very few of those teams could maintain any type of positive momentum.
Here's the list of the teams that were on the bubble heading into Selection Sunday. So, partner, which of those invitees should be sending the selection committee a thank you card? While those teams are celebrating getting into the tournament, let's take a look at the other teams who were on the short end of the stick.
Southern Illinois had a good shot at an at-large bid, or so I thought. But the bottom line this year was the bubble was too crowded with major conference teams, and they got stuck on the outside.
Thanks, Clark. I'm sure that this year will provide us with all the thrills and excitement that we've come to expect from the tournament.
Greg, let's throw the ball up right now. I can't wait to get started. I hope this is an NCAA tournament that gives a lot of those special moments that stay with us for years to come.
For my partner Clark Kellogg and for all of us here in the 2K Sports Studios, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us on the NCAA Selection Show, brought to you by State Farm, the #1 auto insurer. Enjoy all the excitement of the NCAA tournament.